people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Did you just hear what I
I'm
said?
gonna say 4 months or whatever. We got 4 months of testing.
Yes.
What?
I know,
How?
but I'm telling you, the opportunity is not going to be there for you, King. You can take
So
advantage
you
of it
pulling
right
out?
now. Yeah,
So
no,
you
I
pulling
don't
out?
give a fuck. How do you listen? If
You
you want to do
scared?
it, okay. Well, listen, go on vacation
I
then.
just got wait. I just had a
Go,
fight in
go
Japan. I got tested out there.
okay. Well,
We
listen.
ain't heard
Don't
nothing
worry.
about that
Listen.
one.
Hey, hey,
We
hey,
ain't
hey,
heard
King.
nothing to
Listen.
come back
Hey,
because
listen.
everything is
Hey,
clean on this
hey,
side.
B.
It's been
Okay, are
4
we
weeks
gonna?
since that fight. 4
Okay,
weeks. What can I
okay.
take now that's gonna affect November?
Hey, B. I'm not interested no
Yes,
more. Then,
sir.
if you don't want to listen, if you're not interested right now, let me know when you are when you get back from vacation, King. I know, but listen. All right. So we have 4 months to prepare for the fight. During our preparation, right, we need to be signed up in VADA.
My son's gonna be signed up. He said he'll be ready August 1st, like he told you.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that's not no, that's not. We're not
Then
doing that.
then
The
they go. You
offer.
go
Okay,
tell church.
listen. So you will know.
So
So
go
you will
tell the
know.
uppers.
Okay. So you giving me the answer that you guys aren't signing up now.
Go tell Turkey that since Brian Norman won't sign up on July well, I don't even know what the day is. Since Brian Norman won't sign up to on whatever the day is, I want you to go ahead and tell Turkey. Say, listen, they want to start August the 1st, even though y'all paying for 8 weeks. We want them to do extra testing. They refusing to go by out what we say. Go tell Turkey that you pulling out of the fight. Just
Listen,
go tell them.
listen. Hey, listen. It's no problem. I have no problem
All right.
articulating. I heard what you said, and then we just go from there.
All right. You're afraid. I mean, everybody said you was gonna find a reason to pull out the fight.
So what it sounds like to me, sounds like Bill is just looking for a way out. He's looking for any reason and any excuse to call the fight off. The testing is contracted to start at a specific date. In this instance, it's supposed to start August 1st. If what Bill Haney wants is for the testing to start sooner than that, is Bill Haney going to pay for those additional weeks? Is it going to come out of his pocket? Because it has to come out of somebody's pocket. I can make the inference that 8 weeks are bought and paid for. 8 weeks of testing are likely being covered by Turki LL Sheikh himself and the event coordinators, but if what Bill wants is extra, let Bill pay for it then. But this is not about testing. I don't think this is about anti-doping testing. It sounds a lot like Reality Hit, they're feeling the pinch, and they don't really want the Brian Norman fight because nobody has got to be that careful with Jose Ramirez. Remember? I already thought it strange that any fighter who has to treat Jose Ramirez like he's got the bubonic plague, like he's laced with enriched uranium, is then gonna go fight Brian Norman, who's bigger and younger and stronger and faster. After 36 minutes of running from Jose. The story is that Devin Haney only fought that way because he was instructed to do so by his father for the purposes of making it to the Ryan Garcia rematch. But why would you have to fight that way to make it there? It's just Jose Ramirez. So when news breaks that he's gonna fight Brian Norman after that, I found that hard to believe. So here we are. It would seem the Haneys are trying to find a way out, and the excuse is anti-doping testing. They want it to start sooner. The consequences. If the Haneys really do end up pulling out of this fight that Turkey has put together, I don't think he'll invite them back to Riyadh Season or Ring Magazine. He already stunk out the joint in Times Square. Nobody was happy with his performance except his father. You pull out of this, you might be done working with Turkey. And for a couple of free agents like the Haneys, where do you go after that? What do you do? Top Rank isn't going to pay you what Turkey was going to pay you. Matchroom isn't going to pay you what Turkey was going to pay you. Nope. So what do you do? Take the rest of the year off, having only fought once? Some might assume that all of this drama is just theatrics to sell the fight. Sell the fight between Devin and Bryan, but remember, Devin and Bryan ain't the ones in the main event.
So what?
And Devin and Bryan are getting what they're getting irrespective of what the fight does or doesn't do. The number is fixed.
So what?
They don't get anything extra because Bill Haney starts shooting off at the mouth 4 or 5 months out from the fight. If he's doing this, would seem he's doing it because he's looking for a way out. He's looking for a reason to kill the fight. Now, why would he want to kill the fight?
Because Ryan Garcia beat him half to death with little more than a well-timed left hook. Because he just went in there with Jose Ramirez and had to be ever so careful.
And because Brian Norman punches comparatively harder than the aforementioned two.
He wants to kill the fight.
My previous video, I talked about how Turki LL Sheik has to notice. He has to know that dealing with American fighters is a lot more problematic than dealing with international fighters from other countries. The Americans are always rocking the boat.
They're always making things difficult, harder than they need to be.
You couldn't get Teofimo to box Devin at Riyadh season, and now you may not be able to get Devin to box Bryan. So let me just say that I don't find any of this amusing or necessary. This drama for the sake of drama. If that's all it is, it doesn't add anything to the fight.
Why is Bill always doing so many interviews? He does more interviews than his son when his son is the one doing all the fighting.
What's the point of making this appearance on the Boxing Voice in order to rock the boat? It just seems like the Haneys have got cold feet, they don't like their chances, and they are now looking for a way out. Let's not make this more complicated than it is. If you so easily cast aside this fight, it's gotta be because you never really wanted it.
So go ahead, pull out, don't fight, tell Turki what your reasons are, and you'll be lucky if he invites you back.
Sit out the rest of the year. Don't box.
You ain't fun to watch anyway. All the fun in watching a Brian Norman fight was on the hope that he puts you through the canvas.
That he beats you worse than Ryan did. That's what I was tuning in to see. That's what I was hoping for. You want to pull out? Pull out. If this is your excuse, go ahead.
Everybody can see what you're doing. We can read in between the lines.
Men's junior middleweight news. One last look at the upcoming rematch between Sebastian Fundora and Tszyu. Sebastian wants Fighter of the Year, not Fight of the Year acclaim in Tszyu rematch, Vegas. Sebastian Fundora wants to work smarter, not harder, in his rematch against Tszyu. The WBC junior middleweight champion Fundora, 22-1 with 1 draw and 14 knockouts, and Tszyu, 25-2 with 18 knockouts, found themselves engaged in a bloodbath during their original short-notice matchup in March of last year. The Towering Inferno sneaked by with a 12-round split decision. Ahead of their July 19th rematch at the MGM Grand to co-headline a PBC on Prime pay-per-view, Fundora naturally has no intent to be involved in yet another barn burner. I don't want a bloody war. Not on my side, Fundora told The Ring. I want to be Fighter of the Year, not be in Fight of the Year. Last year was good, but this year is going to be even better. I'm growing and I'm doing my thing. Hopefully I can fight another champion by the end of the year.
Xander Zayas, presumably, if he becomes WBO champion.
Fundora has a knack for theatrics. In 2022, he was involved in another Fight of the Year candidate and war against Erickson Lubin, recovering from a knockdown to disfigure Lubin's face for a 9th round stoppage while down a point on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards. The following year, Fundora suffered a career-first defeat when he was blasted into submission by Brian Mendoza in the 7th round of a one-sided fight he'd been controlling up until that point. I always fought a lot of aggressive fighters like Tszyu who came forward, said Fundora. It's nothing new to me, just another experience. Fundora made things look much easier the last time out in March by stopping the overmatched Cordell Booker in 4 rounds. He has since been stripped of his WBO title as he chose to face Tszyu in a more lucrative sequel instead of a mandatory challenger in Xander Zayas. When they say
more lucrative, I don't know what they mean because he would have been in the main event with Xander Zayas, whereas now he's in the co-main event.
I don't really get the sense that he's making more or that much more to fight Tszyu than what he would have made to fight Xander Zayas.
Then why is he doing it?
Because he already beat him before. He's seen him before. It was important for me to get back in the ring quickly, said Fundora. There are a lot of fights to be made, there are a lot of names, and I want to fight all of them. I like the idea of being undisputed. My sister Gabriella is the undisputed flyweight champion and was the 2024 Fighter of the Year. It's something to reach for, and that's how you stamp your name on being the best. I'd like to fight Bakram Murtazaliev. He's the IBF champion, and I want that belt too. I don't think he's the most dangerous fighter at 154. I think I am. It depends on who you like, what styles you like. There's Virgil Ortiz, Zayas, Bakram. There are lots of good names.
And it all sounds good when Sebastian says that he wants those names, but this is the same Sebastian who also said earlier this week that he doesn't pick his own fights. The fights are chosen for him by his promoter, by Samson Lukowicz. So you can say you want Bakram or Zayas, but you won't have the final say, will you?
Everyone wants to see me fight these guys, and they think it's going to be a hard fight for me, but it's just an opportunity for me to prove that I am the best junior middleweight in the world. Right now, I'm comfortable at 154 and make the weight comfortably. I feel like 160 can be the next fight for all we know. I can't speak about the future. I am only focused on the present and the high-class fight that I have on my hands against Tszyu.
Empty promises.
Sebastian can talk about fights with Xander or fights with Bakram, with Virgil, but they may be empty promises, like what was supposed to be the Errol Spence Jr. fight last year. That turned out to be an empty promise.
Dueling perspectives.
Over to the Tim Tszyu side of things, where Sebastian doesn't want another war, Tim Tszyu does. As the rematch nears, Tim Tszyu says, I'm ready. Vegas. It's kill or be killed for Tim Tszyu, and the Aussie is ready for another war when he takes on WBC junior middleweight champion Sebastian Fundora in a rematch this weekend. Their first battle was one for the books, a bloodbath. Fundora edged it by a split decision. Tszyu suffered a nasty gash across his hairline and was forced to fight under tremendous duress from the third round on.
What I think was the biggest factor in their initial meeting was that cut, because up until that point, Tim Tszyu was well on his way to knocking out Sebastian. The amount of damage he was able to amass on Sebastian in just the first 2 rounds, that's what sells it for me. That's why I'm going with Tim.
We went through life and death together. It was a war, Tszyu told the ring. It wasn't like he had an easy fight. He was busted up as well. It was one hell of a fight. I've got to test myself in the heart and prove to myself that I can go on, no matter what. I never make any excuses. I put it all on the line. I have a lot to prove. Get to rewrite my mistakes. I know what's needed, what needs to be done. I feel it!
Sebastian Fundora has only fought once since that fateful night against Tim Tszyu, the keep busy fight with Cordell Booker earlier this year.
And in that fight, like in the Tszyu fight, you noticed that Sebastian is trying to use his range more, his height, and his length, where before, he used to come forward, collapsing the pocket, opting to bang on the inside. Now he wants to use his reach to sort of stay on the outside.
Stay out of harm's way.
And because he's saying that he wants to fight smarter, not harder, I expect him to do that tomorrow. He's gonna try to keep Tim Tszyu at arm's length.
Then how could you be so confident that Tim Tszyu's gonna win?
Well, I'm not overly confident that Tim Tszyu will win. I don't think a Tim Tszyu victory is a foregone conclusion.
Even though I'm picking him.
There is the Bakram Murtazaliev fight to be addressed, and the damage that Tim Tszyu sustained in that fight. What's his confidence level? What's his confidence level really? Because that matters too. Though if I'm going with Timmy to win, it's on the premise that even though Sebastian tried to keep it long and loose and on the outside in their initial meeting, it wasn't working. Tim Tszyu was still getting in with right hand after right hand. And even after the cut opened over his forehead, he was still landing that right hand. Timmy says, I think there's no such thing as a successful story without some failures. A couple of bumps on the road doesn't mean you're completely out. But this year is going to be like a vengeance year. That's the word for me. It started with Spencer, and it's going to keep on going. Fighting against Fundora can't be technical, Tszyu said. We both like to press and bring the action. It's a bit hard to stay at distance and take your time. He's tall. You have to make it a fight. Anyone who fights him is in for a hard night at the office. He should have killed me when he had the chance. I was ready to die in that ring, and that's what kept me going. The hardest part was I lost my mind during the fight. From rounds 3 to 9, I wasn't myself. Adapted to close the fight, but it was a bit too late. It's gonna be a war. Of course, I'm ready. For anyone who might have reservations about Tszyu trying to march forward and trying to make it a war, don't forget that against a taller, longer fighter, that's what you have to do anyway, especially one looking to keep you at arm's length, like Sebastian.
Against the taller, longer fighter, staying mid-range to outside? You're a sitting duck out there. Mid-range to inside, deep on the inside, is where you want to be if you're the shorter guy.
So where Sebastian's gonna look to box, Timmy is gonna look to brawl.
And in a brawl, in the exchange, we know that Sebastian is vulnerable. That's how he got knocked down by Erickson Lubin. That's how he got knocked out by Brian Mendoza.
Tszyu's gonna march forward, countering out of that high guard to catch the long jab of Sebastian Fundora on the arms, then counter with the straight right down the pipe.
Just like before, it was working until the cut opened. He doesn't have to change much about his strategy. He just has to make sure he doesn't slam his head into Sebastian's elbow.
He can win this fight, and if he does, becomes a 2-time junior middleweight champion, what happens after that?
You might be one of the only fighters that hasn't taken the photo with Turkey yet. What's the relationship with you and Turkey?
Hey, I got nothing against Turkey, man. I like what he's doing for the sport. That he's bringing all the big fights possible. I think it's great.
Would you be willing to meet with him?
Yeah, of course, man. I'm just all the way down in Australia. We're just far away from everywhere.
You can get over there.
Yeah, of course.
The bag is right.
Yeah, of course.
We get some more cars out of that.
Look, it's not about the bag, but about making the biggest possible fights happen. You know, that's what it's all about.
In a situation where Tszyu wins and becomes a 2-time junior middleweight champion, there wouldn't be much need to keep working with the PBC since the biggest and best fights at junior middle would not require their involvement.
In a situation where he wins, and thus he could stop working with them and start working with Turkey towards a Virgil Ortiz fight, maybe a Zayas fight,
maybe a Murtazaliev rematch. In a situation where he wins, maybe Sebastian Fundora takes a hiatus from boxing. His younger sister, Gabby, announced via her social media that her brother got accepted into Harvard?
I don't know if she's being cheeky or what. Perhaps a backup plan for Sebastian if boxing doesn't work out. He could go to college.
But I am going with Tszyu to win tomorrow night. I think he had the right strategy the first time out. It's just that freak accident happened and impaired his vision, ruined everything. He doesn't have to change much.
Really doesn't have to change at all because what he was doing was working.
And I'm not really convinced that after just 2 fights, Sebastian is all settled into this new rangy style he's trying to adopt. Guy gets clocked in the mouth, he's gonna revert to what he knows, what he's been doing. And what has Sebastian been doing? Trading punches mid-range to inside.
He's only trying to be more of a boxer now as a result of the knockout in the Brian Mendoza fight. But like I said, he hasn't been using that style all that long, so I don't trust it. I'm going with Timmy.
I think that Tim is gonna barrel forward, catch and shoot, catch and counter out of the high guard whilst applying pressure and drawing Sebastian Fundora into exchanges. Because that's what you gotta do against a taller guy anyway. You have to stay with him, stay on him, and stay close. I've got Tim.